you want me to explain as I'm going over like we always do?
Sure.
Okay. For your daughter's quiz sake. Can you see okay? Yeah, all right. So, so again, these are all the different views. So this is, these little postage stamps show you front to back, side to side, top to bottom, contrast, no contrast, all these different spins on the magnet. So I'm gonna pick out the views that we wanna look at. So if you get MRIs, you'll understand too. So I'm gonna pull out, this is 144 and this is 27, 33. These are, the ones with little bit lower numbers are big thick cuts with gaps in between them. So they're good films, but they're not super detailed for small changes. This one with 144 and 176, these are 1 millimeter slices, so they're very thin slices without any gaps, so they show us everything. Teach your daughter to be a neuroradiologist.
Never know.
That's right. So, so this is from December 9th, 2016, and this is from today. And again, this is the right side and that's the left side, so it's like shaking hands with someone. And these are both contrast scans. So the things that'll light up are blood vessels like this, the dural coverings will light up, the venous sinuses where the blood comes back from the brain. This is all normal brain, the choroid plexus where our spinal fluid is actually manufactured. Your eyes start to show up, you have your air sinuses, and so far everything, there's nothing there. And then you start to see this is the right cerebellar cyst, the larger of the two with the lesion behind it, which is not uncommon with the hemangioblastomas. They have the cystic component. I don't know why I feel like I'm saying it for the camera, even though you know more about this than anything else, but they just kind of reiterate that.
Sure.
And then, see if we can line this up. This is pretty close to the same one. So if I take the measuring tool out and I measure the whole diameter.
That's the tumor or the
tumor's
cyst?
what's the cyst is the dark component.
Okay.
And the
So
tumor is
white
the enhancing area.
Okay.
So I'm measuring this, maybe 26. I kind of caught it a little bit short on that one. So, you know, couple millimeters bigger counting both the cyst and the tumor there. And let me get rid of that because but I think most of this we'll see when we measure, it might be, so if we just measure the lesion.
Oh,
itself.
wow. That cyst is really,
So,
well, just by 2 millimeters.
yeah, so the whole thing's a couple millimeters, but it almost seems like most of that seems to be the enhancing component.
Oh, wait, that's the tumor.
That's the tumor,
That's actually
right,
the tumor.
right.
So the tumor grew 2 millimeters.
It look in the overall diameter in that, so, and we'll see, because I can't adjust for tilt. We'll see what the imaging showed for the radiologist when I take this over here. Yeah, see the cyst is, if it did, it's not as significant change.
So, I mean, is that pretty good for a 6-month period?
It's about what we've been watching, because
Been
remember
pretty
this was a little bit,
consistent.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just seems to be maybe about a millimeter or that, you know, every
Okay.
time. Sometimes it's both the cyst and the lesion. This seems to me to be a little bit more the lesion for that, the enhancing part, the bright component of this. And as we go down a little further, this is the posterior area.
That's where I had surgery in 2001, right there.
Correct, yeah.
So,
Well, it was the right, this is the entry point. He did the suboccipital, your incisions back.
yeah.
It was a little bit more off to the right the tumor that he resected was to the right. But you do see some you're absolutely right, you see some post-surgical changes in there.
So I'm just curious, since with that surgery in 2001, when it was removed, you know, I recovered eventually and I didn't have any balancing problems. But when you talk about removing this, you say it's possible I could have
Well-
balancing issues like afterwards?
Well, it's
Like-
always possible when there's surgery in the
But this one I
cerebellum.
didn't,
And you
so-
might not with this either.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that whenever anyone goes into the cerebellar area,
Which is the
and there's,
balancing part,
right,
right.
and there's any
Mhm.
retraction or surgical,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard, the brain doesn't know the difference between
Oh,
surgery and
okay.
trauma, to the brain it's a trauma, and sometimes there could be a
Right.
little balance difficulty afterward. I mean,
Okay.
every surgery is a little bit different.
So when I had my first surgery, did we get it out when it was like a smaller size? Because I'm just wondering how much space we wanna let this take up in the brain before, you know, we decide it needs to come out.
And it might reach a point and stop for a while, I mean, we don't know what
That's-
its behavior
would
could
be
be.
awesome.
Right, well, we don't know what its behavior
Yeah.
will be, and then you're gonna go after this, and you know there's other ones that are changing, so, I know
Oh.
it's difficult decision, it really, you know, this really is a difficult decision, it's an art to.
So the 4 other brain tumors I have, are they staying stable?
Right, so this is, the other 2 are so little, this one, this is, you know, maybe it's
7 millimeters?
maybe a little more enhancing in there, maybe it's a little bit brighter, it seems that way to me here.
Okay,
And the other ones on the other side, let's find those are just so tiny and they have not changed at all. I should have written down which slice I saw them on. There's one there.
oh, that's little.
Yeah, there's 2 of them that are just, there it is there.
And they've always been there, right?
Yeah.
They're just not growing.
And it almost looks, to be very honest with you, so I said this was brighter here.
Mm-hmm.
The whole contrast phase on the one
Yeah.
you have today is brighter. I mean, where they caught the contrast, where it came in, everything's brighter. Can you appreciate that? Because
Yeah.
the nares are always the dead giveaway for contrast phase, and see how bright they are here and how, so
Oh,
I,
yeah, there's a difference.
yeah, so I think everything is brighter on this phase compared, and that has nothing to do with the tumors or uptake, that has to do with the phase that they did the imaging. So this hasn't changed, I mean, this is just about the same, and the other one, there's the other one, it's just above that,
Okay,
and there it is over there.
okay.
So those 2 are very small, and I'm so sorry,
Oh, it's okay.
sorry about that. Really is work.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll pick up a call in the middle of this, right? So, yeah, so those 2 are stable, and let's see if the report's back, okay?
Okay.
So the big question, is the question really for Dr. Mohammadi, you know, what is the art and the timing? So they do have the results, we're looking at this together.
Okay.
Carrie and I don't have secrets. So slightly enlarging, enhancing solid cystic cerebellar, so that's exactly what we said. And several 1 to 3 millimeter conspicuous, so we looked at those both right in the cerebellar also. Slightly progressed mass effect, so let me pull up, I didn't pull up the flare, so I wanna pull up the flare on that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I looked at it, they thought it was slightly larger, it looks, to me, it looks kind of similar, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So 1.6, 1.2, 1.3, and if we pull this up to older ones, it's even gonna look bigger because it's kind of continually. So they're measuring this almost maybe about a 3 millimeter.
The flare means swelling in the brain?
Right, the irritation of the other tissue, and I apologize
tissue.
for that.
Okay.
So if you look at brain tissue as having a density to it, a composite to it,
Yeah.
the flare will show change in that.
Okay.
So if there's irritation and there's edema or swelling, it'll show as white. If people have little infarcts, which has nothing to do with you, but it'll show as white. People have MS, it'll show as white. So you have to interpret what that is in context to the story.
Okay.
So this kind of flare change around here, see that, is we're interpreting this as edema or irritation of the normal tissue by this lesion. So it is irritating the normal tissue.
As a result of the
The-
growing cyst
Right, it's
tumor?
pushing on the normal tissue and it's causing some inflammatory response or some irritation to that. Now, when they talk about mass effect, it means it's actually pushing and occupying space. And I don't see, you know, I'm trying to look at the normal tissue around here. I'm looking at the fourth ventricle where the spinal fluid comes out. Maybe it's a little bit, you know, see how it's open here? Maybe it's a little bit of mass effect on that. So I wouldn't say it's 100% zero, but it's hard to really appreciate that there's a big change in that. Another film you could see this on, I'm like this, it's actually not you guys, I like showing films. So the T2, which shows fluid as being white or bright, so the spinal fluid's all bright here. So you could appreciate, see the cyst is the same color as the spinal fluid.
Yeah.
So I don't, to me, it's not a huge difference. You know, to be honest with you, there is this edema or mass effect around there, but it's not a huge difference.
I do see a change though. So this one is December and this was today on the right?
This is December, yeah, so if you're gonna do that, and that's today. Oh, wait, you know what, wait a minute, wait.
Got it better?
No, I wanna get
Oh.
rid of these little ones, cause you'll get a better.
Okay. I mean, I can see a little, that does look bigger to
Well,
me.
no, but I'm talking about,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
looking at, this is bigger, yes, but I'm looking at the flare.
The flare,
They
the
were reading in the
tissue.
report that there was a little bit more mass effect and flare change. And this, I don't really notice a big difference in that. If it is, it's very subtle.
When the tissue is flared up, can it cause symptoms?
Edema can cause symptoms just like tumor. The swelling, the
Uh-huh.
pushing on tissue can cause it, but.
What kind
you
of
know,
symptoms, like,
This would be balance.
that would be
Yeah, this would be
balancing?
balance, you know, everything in the cerebellar, you'd be looking, maybe vertigo, balance difficulty, maybe falling off a little to the right, if this was, you know, causing those type of symptoms, which I'm telling you, walking heel to toe in high heels. I'm not noticing much that makes you, you know,
I can go
really,
higher if you want.
you know, and it might just be a little change, you know, it might be it's fine, and then it just tips over a little change and you start noticing that. Can I
Okay.
take that off? It's been, you only need it for a few,
Yeah,
okay,
that would be great.
yeah.
They actually
You don't-
gave me an IV that hurt. They
Oh.
actually really shoved it up in there. I was like.
Remove your MRI appointment. So, let's have Dr. Mohammed go over it. I mean, I'm certainly not the one that would call, you know, about
Okay.
the surgical decisions to
And I haven't seen
not
him in a
to.
while.
Yeah, so this is a good, you have to bring a film crew to see him. You should give him a hard time about that, right? So, all right. But do you have any, I mean, as best I can, do you have any questions for me?
I do regarding Klonopin.
Okay.
You know, I would like to be able to sleep at night, but I would like to be able to do it without being on that kind of medication, because it's been 15 years,
Okay.
and I am starting to get concerned about long-term effects of it. I know it's just a 0.5 milligram, but is there something else I can take that's not a benzo?
Does that work?
Oh, yeah, I sleep, but, yeah, I mean, you know.
So there won't, so just so you know, so
Yeah.
benzodiazepines, long-term can have a physical dependency, but that's not, doesn't mean, I mean, you just wean off of it. If you ever wanna stop it, you don't stop abruptly, because you could have
Right.
life-threatening withdrawal. You just wean off of it, you know, under the guidance, you get smaller doses and you go from, you know, small amount to then every other day to off.
Mhm.
Things that, you know, I'm not a believer in these non-benzo medications like the Ambien and
Oh.